What happens when a Hollywood icon walks into a studio expecting a calm conversation and walks out into a storm of judgment, tension, and unanswered questions? Before this story unfolds any further, make sure you subscribe to Stage Leaks, hit the like button, and drop a comment if you love deep, emotional, behind-the-scenes celebrity stories like this. Your support keeps these explosive moments coming. The red on-air light blinked to life. The familiar theme music of The View faded into applause, rolling through the studio like distant thunder. The audience smiled, clapped, and leaned forward in their seats, unaware that they were about to witness one of the most uncomfortable moments in daytime television history. Johnny Depp sat backstage, staring at his reflection in the mirror. The makeup artist's brush hovered near his cheek, but his eyes were far away, somewhere between memory and regret, somewhere between exhaustion and quiet defiance. His hair was tied back loosely. His rings caught the light. His signature scarf rested around his neck like emotional armor. He had done hundreds of interviews. Late-night shows, press tour, award ceremonies, courtrooms. But today felt different. There was a tightness in his chest he couldn't explain. A whisper in his mind that said, "Be careful." His publicist leaned in gently. 5 minutes, Johnny. He nodded slowly. Yeah, I'm ready. But was he? Across the hallway, in the brightly lit studio, Sunny Hostin adjusted her notes. Her face was calm, professional, controlled. But behind that composure was preparation sharpened like a blade. She had read everything. Every article, every transcript, every headline, every controversy. She wasn't there to flatter. She was there to question. And she intended to be direct. Very direct. Whoopi Goldberg leaned back in her chair, sipping coffee, watching the monitors. Behar whispered something to Sara Haines. The producers exchanged nervous glances. They knew. Today's interview wasn't going to be light. No funny stories, no movie clips and smiles, no easy laughs. This was going to be emotional. And possibly explosive. A stage manager raised a hand. 30 seconds. The audience clapped louder as Johnny Depp stepped onto the set. He walked slowly, gracefully, like a man who had learned how to move under pressure. The applause grew. Some fans whistled. Some stood up. Johnny smiled politely. Not big, not fake. Just enough. He waved once, then took his seat. For a brief moment, everything looked perfect. The lighting, the cameras, the smiles. A famous actor, a popular talk show, a calm beginning. Whoopi leaned forward. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Johnny Depp." More applause. Johnny nodded. Thank you, thank you." His voice was soft, almost fragile. Whoopi smiled warmly. "Johnny, it's good to see you." "Good to be here," he replied. Sunny glanced down at her notes. Joy tilted her head. Sara folded her hands. The conversation started gently. They talked about his latest project, his love for music, his journey through art. Johnny relaxed slightly. His shoulders dropped. He even laughed once. For a moment, he thought, maybe this won't be so bad. But storms never announce themselves. They just arrive. Sunny lifted her head. Her eyes met his. And everything changed. "Johnny," she said calmly, "you've been through years of public controversy." The audience grew quieter. Johnny nodded. "Yes, I have." Sunny continued. "Court cases, accusations, media storms, public opinion shifting back and forth." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. How do you respond to people who say that despite the verdicts, they still believe you hurt someone? Silence. Not complete silence, but the kind that feels heavy. Like the air itself has stopped moving. Johnny blinked. Once. Twice. He wasn't expecting it so soon. Not this directly. Not this sharp. He adjusted his ring slowly. Well, he began, I think people are entitled to their opinions. Sunny didn't look away. But do you understand why some victims feel unheard when powerful men walk away with their careers intact? A murmur rippled through the audience. Johnny's jaw tightened. His eyes darkened slightly. I never walked away, he said quietly. I fought for my truth. Sunny raised an eyebrow. But others say you fought to protect your image, not justice. Whoopi shifted in her chair. Joy frowned slightly. Sara glanced between them. Johnny leaned back. Took a breath. I lost everything, he replied. Movies, friends, reputation, years of my life. Sunny nodded. Yet you're still here, on national TV, promoting projects making millions. Johnny's fingers curled. I earned this, he said, through pain. The tension was now visible, like invisible wires stretching between them. Sunny leaned forward. Do you take any responsibility for the toxic dynamic in that relationship? Johnny froze. For half a second, it felt like time cracked open. His mind flooded with memories. Courtrooms, recordings, headlines, people shouting his name, people hatting his name. I take responsibility for my flaws, he said slowly, like any human being. Sunny pressed, but not for emotional harm. A gasp came from somewhere in the audience. Johnny's voice lowered. I never intended harm. But intent doesn't erase impact, Sunny replied. Now Whoopi raised her hand slightly. Let's. But Johnny spoke first. No, he said, let her ask. Everyone looked at him. His eyes were shining now. Not with anger. With something deeper. Exhaustion. Pain. Defiance. Sunny softened her tone slightly. Johnny, people watching want honesty, not performance. That word. Performance. It hit him. Like a slap. His lips parted. Do you think this is a performance? He asked. Sunny hesitated. I think celebrities learn how to control narratives. Johnny leaned forward. His voice trembled. You think I wanted to bleed in public? The audience was dead silent. You think I enjoyed having my life dissected? Sunny responded calmly. I think accountability matters. Johnny shook his head. His smile was gone. I was accountable, in court, in life, in pain. A producer whispered urgently into a headset. Cameras zoomed slightly closer. Every twitch, every breath, every emotion. Captured. Immortalized. Sunny looked at him steadily. Some survivors watching feel dismissed when you frame yourself only as a victim. Johnny's hands dropped to his knees. He stared at the floor, then looked up, and something in his eyes had changed. This isn't fair, he said quietly. Sunny replied, life isn't fair. That was it. That sentence. Simple. Cold. Unforgiving. Johnny stood. The audience gasped. Whoopi stood halfway. Johnny. He shook his head. No, I can't do this. Sunny looked shocked. Wait. I came here to talk about healing, he said, voice breaking, not to be judged again. Producers rushed. Cameras scrambled. Johnny grabbed his jacket. I've lived this nightmare already. He turned. Walked away. The applause didn't come. Only whispers. Only stunned faces. Only disbelief. As he disappeared backstage, the red ON Air light kept glowing. Still recording. Still watching. Still waiting. And outside that studio, on phones and screens across the world, a storm was about to explode. The studio didn't know how to breathe anymore. Johnny Depp's footsteps faded behind the curtains, but his presence still hung in the air like smoke after a fire. The empty chair where he had been sitting now felt louder than any argument. Whoopi stood frozen for a moment. Her hand hovered in the air, unsure whether to wave him back or let him go. Sunny stared toward the exit. Her lips were slightly parted. She hadn't expected that. Not the walkout. Not the sudden emotional collapse. Not the way his voice had cracked like glass under pressure. Joy Behar leaned toward her microphone. Well, that just happened. A few nervous laughs slipped from the audience. But most people didn't laugh. They were too shocked. Sara Haines looked at the camera, trying to hold a professional smile that was slowly breaking. Let's take a quick break, Whoopi finally said. The producer's voice screamed through the host's earpieces. Cut to commercial, now. The screen faded. Music played. Ads rolled. But behind the scenes, chaos erupted. Backstage, Johnny walked fast. Not running. Not storming. Just escaping. Like a man trying to outrun memories. His boots echoed against the hallway floor. Tap. 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 Each step sounded heavier than the last. A production assistant tried to follow him. Mr. Depp, sir. He raised a hand. Please, not now. His chest was tight. Breathing hurt. His vision blurred. He reached his dressing room, pushed the door open, and shut it behind him. Click. Silence. He leaned against the wall, closed his eyes, and finally let it out. A shaky breath. Then another. His hands trembled. He slid down slowly until he was sitting on the floor. Head in his hands. I can't keep doing this, he whispered to himself. Every interview. Every question. Every reminder. No matter how hard he tried to move forward. They kept pulling him back. Back to courtrooms. Back to recordings. Back to strangers deciding who he was. He looked at his reflection in the mirror across the room. The eyeliner, the wrinkles, the tired eyes. Still fighting, he murmured. Outside, his publicist was already on the phone. Yes, he walked out. Yes, it was tense. No, we didn't expect that. She paced back and forth. Sweat on her forehead. This was bad. Very bad. Meanwhile, in the control room, producers were panicking. Why didn't we cut sooner? Who approved that question? This is trending already. A young intern stared at his phone. Oh my God, Twitter is exploding. Show me. He held up the screen. Johnny walks out. Team Johnny. Sunny was right. The View drama. Thousands. Then tens of thousands. Then millions. In real time. The internet was choosing sides. Inside the studio, during the commercial break, the hosts gathered closer. Sunny took a deep breath. I didn't mean to push him out, she said quietly. Whoopi looked at her seriously. You pushed hard. Sunny defended herself. I asked what people are thinking. Joy crossed her arms. There's a difference between asking and cornering. Sara spoke softly. He looked really hurt. Sunny rubbed her temples. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was trying to be honest. Whoopi sighed. This is live TV. Emotions don't come with seatbelts. The red light blinked again. 5 seconds. Everyone rushed back into position. Smiles back on. Voices steady. Professional masks on. The cameras returned. Whoopi faced forward. Welcome back, she said calmly. We're sorry for the unexpected moment. Johnny Depp has chosen to leave the interview. Chosen. That word was deliberate. Not stormed off. Not ran away. Chosen. Sunny nodded. We respect his decision, she added. But her eyes betrayed uncertainty. Back in his dressing room, Johnny watched the monitor. He heard every word. Chosen, he whispered bitterly. Like it was a choice. Like he hadn't felt trapped. Like he hadn't felt cornered. He turned the TV off. His phone buzzed. Once. Twice. 10 times. Messages flooded in. Friends, agents, fans, journalists. He ignored them. Until one name appeared. His daughter. He hesitated. Then opened it. Dad, I saw what happened. Are you okay? Read. His throat tightened. He typed slowly. I'm okay, sweetheart, don't worry. He added a heart. Then stared at the screen. For a long time. On the set, the hosts tried to move on. They talked about another topic. Another guest. Another story. But nobody was listening. The audience was distracted. Everyone was checking phones. Recording clips. Sending videos. Whispering. This wasn't just an interview anymore. It was a moment. A viral moment. A cultural moment. Some audience members whispered. She was too harsh. No, he couldn't handle the truth. He's traumatized. He's manipulating. He's brave. He's weak. Opinions clashed. Right there in their seats. Outside the studio, paparazzi gathered like vultures. Cameras ready. Lenses focused. They knew Johnny would leave soon. And when he did, they would be waiting. Back in the hallway, a security guard knocked gently. Mr. Depp, your car is ready. Johnny stood. Straightened his jacket. Looked in the mirror one last time. Showtime never ends, he muttered. He stepped outside through a side exit. Flash. 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 Cameras exploded. Johnny, why did you walk out? Did Sunny cross a line? Are you okay? Do you regret it? He said nothing. Not one word. He just got into the car. The door slammed shut. And the vehicle pulled away. Inside, he leaned back. Closed his eyes. Finally alone. But far away. On millions of screens. The argument was just beginning. And the story was far from over. Night fell over the city like a heavy curtain. Neon lights reflected on wet streets. Traffic hummed in the distance. Billboards glowed with smiling faces that felt strangely fake after a day filled with raw emotion. Inside a quiet hotel suite, overlooking the skyline, Johnny Depp sat alone on the edge of his bed. The room was expensive. Elegant. Perfect. And completely empty. A half-finished cup of coffee sat cold on the table. His jacket lay thrown over a chair. His phone rested beside him, lighting up every few seconds like a restless heartbeat. Buzz. 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 He hadn't checked social media. Not yet. He knew what he would find. Support, hate, speculation, lies, half-truths. A digital battlefield with his name, written in blood-red letters. He rubbed his face slowly. I just wanted peace, he whispered. He picked up the phone. Opened Twitter. The screen exploded. Clips of him standing up. Slow-motion edits. Dramatic music overlays. Side-by-side comparisons with courtroom footage. Millions of views. Already. One post read. He couldn't answer real questions, so he ran. Another. Protect Johnny at all costs. He's been through enough. A fan account posted. We watched a man relive his trauma on live TV. A critic wrote, walking out is privilege. Survivors don't get to walk away. Johnny's chest tightened. Each word felt personal. Each comment felt like a verdict. He locked the phone. Threw it onto the bed. Across town, in a quiet apartment filled with law books and legal papers, Sunny Hostin stood by her window. She held a glass of water she hadn't touched. Her TV played in the background. Replay, pause, rewind. Her question, his face, his reaction. Again, and again, and again. Her husband walked in softly. "You've been staring at that all night," he said. She sighed. "I keep wondering, did I cross a line?" He sat beside her. "You did your job. Or did I forget there was a human sitting there?" she replied. She closed her eyes. "I saw pain, and I kept pushing. But you also asked what millions want answered," he said. She shook her head. Intent doesn't erase impact. The same words she had spoken to Johnny, now echoing in her own mind. In another part of the city, in a small apartment lit only by a laptop screen, a young fan named Maya stared at the video. She had followed Johnny since she was 12, watched his movies when her parents were fighting, listened to his interviews when she felt alone. To her, he wasn't just an actor. He was comfort. She wiped her eyes. "They're hurting him again," she whispered. She opened TikTok, started recording. "Listen," she said to the camera, voice shaking. "I watched that interview live. He wasn't being manipulative. He was breaking, and nobody cared." She posted it. Within minutes, 10,000 likes, then 50,000, then 1 million. Her videos spread like wildfire. Across countries, across languages, across generations. #ProtectJohnny began trending. Meanwhile, in a newsroom downtown, editors huddled around screens. Run it as Depp storms off after confrontation. No, that sounds biased. What about Depp leaves interview after emotional exchange? Too soft. Ad heated, people click on heated. Headlines were weapons, and everyone was sharpening theirs. At another studio, a celebrity gossip podcast went live. "So let's be real," the host said. "That walkout, classic deflection." Her co-host replied, "Or classic trauma response." Arguments erupted in comment sections. Friends unfriended each other. Families debated at dinner. One interview had become a cultural war. Back in his hotel room, Johnny's manager finally convinced him to take a call. "Johnny," she said gently, "we need to control the narrative." He laughed bitterly. "What narrative? I'm tired of narratives." "Then tell your truth, in your words." Silence. He stared at the city lights. "I already did, in court, in pain, in public. How many times do I have to bleed?" She paused. "Once more, maybe." He closed his eyes. "I don't know if I have it in me." Later that night, he sat at the desk with a notebook. An old habit. Ink over keyboards. Truth over filters. He wrote, "I walked out because I felt small again. Because I felt judged before being heard. Because I was tired of proving I deserved peace." He stopped. Read it. Tore the page out. Wrote again. "I am not perfect. I never was. But I am trying to heal." Tear. Again. Again. Page after page. Nothing felt right. Across town, Sunny sat at her desk doing the same thing. Drafting a statement. Deleting it. Writing again. "I respect Johnny Depp." Delete. "I regret if my words caused pain." Delete. "I stand by my questions." Delete. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She whispered, "Why is this so hard?" Because this wasn't about ratings anymore. It was about conscience. The next morning, news channels played the clip on loop. Psychologists were invited on air. Walking out is a trauma response. It's avoidance behavior. It's emotional dysregulation. Everyone had a theory. Few had empathy. At a cafe near his hotel, Johnny sat in a corner wearing sunglasses and a hat, trying to be invisible. Two teenagers whispered nearby. "That's him. The guy who walked out." He pretended not to hear. But he did. Every word. Every label. every judgment. He paid and left quickly. Outside, he stopped, looked up at the sky. Cloudy, heavy, like his mind. My life is a headline, he murmured. His phone buzzed. A message from his agent. Sunny is considering a public response. Johnny stared at it. For a long time. Then typed. Tell her I never meant to disrespect her. I just couldn't stay. He didn't know if she would see it. Or care. But it was the truth. And somewhere, in another apartment, Sunny was staring at her screen. About to hit post. About to change everything. The world woke up hungry. Hungry for answers. Hungry for apologies. Hungry for villains and heroes. Morning shows replayed the clip before the sun was fully up. News alerts buzzed on phones before people brushed their teeth. Group chats exploded. Comment sections burned. One moment. One chair left empty. One man walking away. And suddenly, everyone had an opinion. In a quiet corner of her apartment, Sunny Hostin sat at her desk, staring at her laptop screen. Her statement was ready. 3 paragraphs. Every word carefully chosen. Every sentence weighed like gold. She read it again. I believe in asking difficult questions. I also believe in compassion. If my words caused Johnny Depp pain, that was never my intention. Her finger hovered over the mouse. Her heart raced. Once she posted this, there was no taking it back. She closed her eyes. Clicked. Post. Within seconds, the reactions poured in. Respect for owning it. Too little, too late. She meant what she said. Finally, some maturity. The internet argued. As always. Across the city, Johnny sat in his hotel room, watching the news on mute. Sunny's statement scrolled across the screen. He read it on his phone. Slowly. Carefully. Twice. He leaned back. Exhaled. For the first time in days. His shoulders relaxed. She tried, he whispered. His manager knocked softly. Johnny, people are asking if you'll respond. He looked out the window. Cars moved. People lived. The world didn't stop. Even when his felt like it had. Give me a minute, he said. He opened his notebook again. This time, he didn't tear the page. He wrote, I walked out because I was overwhelmed. Not because I'm above questions. Not because I'm hiding. Because I'm human. He took a photo. Posted it. No caption. No hashtags. Just truth. Within an hour. It had 10 million views. Fans cried in comment sections. I felt this. He's still healing. This is real. Stay strong, Johnny. Even critics paused. Some softened. Some didn't. But something shifted. The tone changed. Less shouting. More listening. That afternoon, The View addressed the moment again. Whoopi looked directly into the camera. We're all learning, she said, and sometimes learning is uncomfortable. Sunny nodded beside her. Conversations about accountability and compassion can exist together, she added. We don't have to destroy each other to grow. The audience applauded. Not loudly. Not wildly. But sincerely. Across social media, longer posts appeared. Not just clips. Not just memes. Reflections. Think pieces. Stories from viewers who had faced public judgment. People who had felt cornered. People who had walked away from rooms to protect their sanity. One woman wrote, I saw myself in Johnny. Not famous. Not rich. Just tired of explaining my pain. A man commented. Sunny asked what no one else would. That matters too. For once, it wasn't black and white. It was human. A week later, Johnny returned to music. A small stage. Dim lights. No cameras. Just a guitar. And a microphone. Before singing, he spoke quietly. I'm still learning how to stay, even when it hurts. The crowd stood. Some with tears. Some with phones down. Present. Real. Meanwhile, Sunny gave a speech at a journalism event. She admitted, I learned that courage isn't just asking hard questions. It's knowing when to hold space for pain. The audience rose. Not for drama. For growth. And slowly, the headlines faded. The hashtags died. New scandals replaced old ones. As they always do. But for many people, that moment stayed. The silence. The walkout. The honesty. It reminded them that behind fame are fragile hearts. Behind tough questions are real consequences. Behind every viral clip is a human being. And now, it's your turn. Was Johnny right to walk away? Did Sunny cross a line or do her job? Was it strength or weakness? Truth or misunderstanding? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let your voice be heard. And if you want more explosive, emotional, behind-the-scenes stories like this, subscribe to Stage Leaks. Hit the like button. Share this story with someone who loves real drama and real emotion. Because here, we don't just show moments. We reveal the truth behind them.